This is a step that a lot of people skip, but it really is important to consider your geographic location. And a common mistake made by small businesses setting up their actual website is that the site doesn't target a particular area or location, which means you're not really on the virtual map, and that makes it harder to be found by the search engines. So a small business, organization, information resource, anything like that of local interest usually serves that particular town or city, or perhaps the wider district. Whatever the case may be, your website needs to reflect this area that you serve by using relevant keywords in the website address for one, although exact match domains are becoming less important these days. But anyway, page titles, they need some or all of the keywords. You need to make sure your page descriptions, otherwise known as snippets, that's the thing that appears just below the link that you see in the Google search results, that needs to be compelling and relevant. On the website itself, you need to be using appropriate headings. You need to make sure your written content mentions the keywords of your business as well. And here's a good tip for you: if your area code is 0115, that sends a signal to Google that this is a Nottingham related website, so bear that in mind. Just to take a few steps back, it's much better to focus on one primary location if you're a small business. An example of this is that instead of focusing on, say, the East Midlands, you might target Derbyshire or Nottinghamshire. But if that area is still too wide, narrow it down to, say, Nottingham or Derby, and you could still go deeper than that. If you're serving a particular town or area, you could rank for the keywords associated with that area when users enter those particular search engine queries. An example of a business targeting a very specific area is a pizza delivery business, a fast food business. They will be distributing printed flyers to a very specific area to reach local customers, and for that reason their website would need to be consistent with these marketing efforts. And quite often there is actually more to be gained by fencing yourself in to a degree, because you stand out in this smaller sphere of influence. It's like you're a big fish in a small pond, and you may think you're limiting your horizons, but it's actually better, because if you target this tight local area, your website keywords have more potency. Before I show you keywords examples, I need to tell you that Google actually knows the location of users' computers because of their IP address, and the IP is a unique identifier for the computer or device that you're using, and it works a bit like GPS. So what happens is, when you query a set of keywords, Google takes into account your physical location. It knows where you are, whereabouts in the world you are. It takes into account your physical location, and it actually displays personalized results, which are made up of a mixture of local businesses and some not so local. So if you're testing keywords, you should always do this. If you're testing out a keyword because you want to see where your website is ranking, always sign out from Google, okay, and clear your browser history, because if you don't, your search results are actually skewed in favor of whatever you've been searching for previously. And this is something that Google has been criticized for, because they're snooping, that they know too much. It's like Big Brother. But anyway, that's another topic. So in the example that I'm showing you now, even though I'm signed out, Google knows my IP address is actually Ilkeston, and Google, it doesn't always get it accurate. I mean, it's estimated between 60 and 90% accuracy when they estimate your IP address. Sometimes it puts my IP address in Long Eaton, which is not far from here, but I think that might be something to do with my ISP. I've got Virgin Media, so Google places my IP address in San Diego and Long Eaton, so I'm thinking, So anyway, keywords. Here's a quick example. If I type 24-hour emergency plumber into Google, and if you look at the organic search engine results, which appear free, you can see a mixture of local and not quite so local results. Now they're mainly national results, so if I was looking for a 24-hour emergency plumber and I had a burst water main, for example, I'm going to need somebody who's local. So think more like the customer, and I'm refining the search. So the search I'm going to perform is 24-hour emergency plumber, Ilkeston, and as you would expect, that returns targeted results. And if there is a local plumber serving Ilkeston, he's going to get found by his customers because he targeted those keywords. The plumber might be physically available to work in a much wider area. Perhaps he's got a van or company transport. He maybe travels further afield. But for the purposes of the website, you should really go more niche, because if this plumber does broaden his keywords on his website, that plumber would end up competing with other plumbers doing the same thing, and some of those established plumbers may have more trust with Google. They may be ranking higher. They might have been around for years before this other plumber came along with his website. So you've got to bear that in mind. There's always a lot of competition out there. If you do go more niche, you can perhaps rank for more targeted keywords due to the fact that you're the only one, or at least part of a smaller amount of people targeting those keywords. It's better to have 10% of something than 100% of nothing, and that's a mistake a lot of people make when they first start out. They just want to target these broad keywords. So narrow down your keywords, optimize the site accordingly, vary some of those keywords on the website so that they're still relevant and targeted. What you want to do is just use natural sounding words that basically mean the same thing. If you're repeating, are you searching for widgets in Ilkeston? If you want Ilkeston widgets, we can provide widgets in Ilkeston. Ilkeston widgets is what we do. We are the best provider of widgets in Ilkeston. Buy widgets today in Ilkeston. If that's not natural sounding, that's going to get flagged for spam. What you would do is you'd flesh it out, use varied keywords, like I say. Don't ramble, keep it to the point. Before you begin thinking about a website or any digital marketing for that matter, in your own mind, try and crystallize exactly what it is you do and who you serve. Because if you can summarize this in one sentence, you're halfway to writing good copy for a website. Because the way people read a website is not the same as the way people look at newspapers or magazines. When people go on a website, they tend to scan. So in some ways you need to keep it brief and concise. And when you do write content for a web page, like I said before, don't ramble, don't get too wordy, because all that does is bore people and it confuses the search engines. So keep your keywords targeted, yes, but also try and vary the language, emphasize location, but don't overdo it.